Hello, everybody. Once again, this is John Arnold from Protect and Serve. Welcome you to the show. Listen, we had such a great discussion last week about college and sending our babies off to college. I call them babies because they'll always be a baby for us, but they are young adults. And going off to college, that's setting them just like their first step into adulthood. And then even though they're young adults, we still are concerned about this because this is a new venue for them. How to campus is going to be depending on where they go, if they're going to continue to be enrolled. So we want to give you as much information as we can to help you out because I didn't have this type of information in my day. Went off to college. I was just like lost. I was always wondering, nervous, wondering if they're okay at night. Were they going to parties? What time were they coming in? Were they drinking and driving? Were they with friends? So many things. And then you hear about the crimes that go on campus. And then, what is you feel powerless. So, but there are some things that you can do as a parent before you send your child off, and when they come home, you can talk to them about it to make them aware. We have a thing in law enforcement called situational awareness. That's when we're always aware of what's going on around in our situation by the moment. So when you hear me say situational awareness, that's so that you would know that we're talking about what's going on in the environment that your child is in. What type of activities are they involved with? What type of activities can be a danger to them? What can they be exposed to that can be dangerous to them? What has history taught us? What lessons have we learned from investigating crimes on campus? All these things are situational awareness that you want to make sure that your child is aware of. So tonight, as we did last week, we had Sergeant Darryl Yeverton, retired, who came on and gave us a lot of information. And tonight I asked another friend of mine, recently retired, a lieutenant. He's going to come on and he's going to talk about his experiences and talk about some other aspects, some things that you should know when you drop your child off or when you're sitting in classes or orientations with your child. And then we're going to talk to, again, the people that I always refer to as the experts, two detectives who I've worked with throughout my career, my 30 plus years in law enforcement, who have worked with me. We worked with colleges. I worked with colleges when I was a deputy police director. We worked with Rutgers, Newark on a couple of investigations. One we're going to get into tonight. And I just think that the more information you have, the better it is for you and your child. The better you can sleep at night, knowing that your child is more equipped with information about how to protect themselves and what to watch out for. Because listen, it's a cold world out there. It is. And we want to do everything we can to protect our children. So I want to get started. Let me bring in my two experts, I call them. Detective Stephanie Treadwell, retired from Newark Police, and Detective Anthony Cox, retired from Essex County Prosecutor's Office. Guy, girl, how are you doing today?
We doing good. Doing good. Kinda.
Okay, well, listen, the discussion was so good last week that we had to come back this week and do a part two, because a lot of the parents were hitting me off. And listen, viewers, we want to thank you for watching, for being faithful. I'm always getting DMs and instant messages about the show, and people. I didn't realize so many people watch our show. But listen, we are servants, public servants, and that's what we do. We love to serve. I think it's inbred in us from birth that we were created just to do that, to serve the public. And that's what we do. I mean, I got great joy in it. Some people do it for a check, but I used to work a lot of times and didn't get paid for it. I didn't get compensated. Just I love it. Yeah, I love doing what I did. And if it's going to help my fellow man or fellow woman, I'm for it. So we got so many. So I got so many accolades. I'm nobody. I'm just a nobody trying to tell somebody and everybody about something that's good for them. And we thank you for tuning in. We thank you for being faithful every week. Tell your friend, continue to tell your friends and folks, when you hear a subject, we got some stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks, man, that's going to blow your mind. You got to really stay tuned and continue to watch, protect, and serve. But let's get on with the conversation. We're talking about college campus. We've all send our children off to college. All of us have children who are in colleges and private schools, and whenever they're away, it's always something that, you know, I don't know about you, but I don't sleep. I don't sleep well.
Always worried about
my baby's text, find out what's going on, because there's so many things. When I hear my daughter was going out to the shopping center or to the supermarket to buy something, I'm like, be careful, you know, don't make sure, you know, you watch and be aware of what's going on. Don't go too late. Don't be out so late. Watch for drunk drivers. Don't go out during the holidays. You know,
run down a list for them.
Exactly. You know,
or tell them you'll go get it for them. Just stay in the room.
And I did that all the time. I made so many trips out there to Piscataway. I was like, wait a minute, man, am I going to school here? But I just didn't want her to be burdened. I wanted her to try to concentrate on her studies and be safe. But we're going to have two guests tonight, but I want to bring Lieutenant Hargrove. Let me tell you something. Lieutenant Thomas Hargrove has years of experience in working in law enforcement and in the college environment. Police officer for many years, I think 25 or 30 years. And hey, Lieutenant, welcome to the show.
Hello.
How's it going?
Welcome.
Thank you, man. Good.
Thanks for having me.
And listen, I'm gonna bring our other boy in here. You know, I say boy because that's our boy. You know, even though he wears the other blue, it's okay. We talking about Sergeant Darryl Yelverton. Is he there? Come on in, Darryl.
Hey.
There he is.
What's going on?
Look like there's money over there.
Wait a minute, you brothers are putting us to shame, man. You got
whoa.
Look at the bow tie.
Hey, man, you know, we just try to hold it down a little bit, you know what I'm saying? A little Michael Lamont work there, you know what I'm saying?
I see, I know. I know Pastor Michael Lamont, yeah.
Yes, like sir. I said, Lieutenant Hargrove, I like those colors, they're black and gold. I don't know what your color is, but
hey, I'm not going to.
And I've known Sergeant Yelverton for almost all of my career.
Yeah, so I was going to say that because he's not a stranger. I mean, you of course, you know, you worked in basically like the same state, and geographically, you know, we all work together at some point in time because, you know, crime has no boundaries, and I know that the two of you have worked closely together. And Sergeant Yelverton, last week, he gave us a lot of good information, and he brought us from one aspect. But Lieutenant Hargrove, why don't you just tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, about your career, and then take us into some conversation about how we can benefit them from watching the show tonight.
Retired lieutenant, did over 25 years, a little bit over 25 years. I worked in public safety. I worked in the dispatch center, and then actually working as a uniform officer for 25 years, in which I was still working as a telecommunicator. So I've worked in multiple phases there. So I've been on the community policing unit. I've worked with actually been an advisor for university groups, being involved with other groups that meet on campus, be it the Greeks, be it other departments that be meeting. And then, you know, near the end of my career, I actually ventured out and I did the command, you know, for operations and support services, you know, and actually ended up as the highest ranking sworn officer upon my departure. But I was always hands-on and on the ground with most things that were going on.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it. It was an honor to serve.
Yes, and welcome to safe. You know, you made it, man. You made it to retirement and ready for the next chapter.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You know we don't stop serving.
No, never. That's why I'm here today.
Hey, we thank you for your presence, and as Tony said, we thank you for your service. And you know, so you worked in a university, not a college, but a university,
yes,
which you know is quite bigger. And I'm quite sure there were some things that you found as, you know, a public safety officer, police officer, that was intriguing. I'm quite sure there's a lot of stories you can tell. But let's say, you know, like we did with Sergeant Yelverton, we're parents. We're bringing our children there for the first day. They're checking in. They got accepted to this college. They have a smile on their face. But as a parent, we always have in the back of our mind, is our child going to be safe? So at your university, when parents came there, what was the first? I know when I went to Rutgers, the first thing I saw that made me feel comfortable was I saw some police officers out at the Piscataway campus. Matter of fact, one of them was his father was a deputy chief in Montclair. And when I saw the son, I said, wait a minute. Well, I know you. I know your dad. And, it made me feel comfortable. And also because my cousin was she just retired from Rutgers as well. So I felt comfortable seeing the police there. But let's say a parent comes and they don't know any police officers, but they see you. They see you or they see the men and women who work for you. So tell us about some of the things that went on from that point on.
I would say that usually when they have like an orientation, you may have some of the campus police agencies that may have representatives at the tables.
Mm-hmm.
So they may come in and maybe an introduction. The officers, may be at the table to provide information. Often when the parents come through, they actually think you're there just for security. So They don't really know that you're there to, provide any information. Some of the information that you might want to provide about the department might be the structure of the department, the fact that it's 24/7, because a lot of them don't know that, or they don't even know that you're a real police officer.
Yeah.
So that's often a surprise. So
yeah,
when you go into it, you may be able to explain to them that you have a K9 unit, your bomb dog that's on the K9 unit. You may have private investigations. How many detectives do you have? How many people do you have working in patrol? What's your average response time? UCR stats.
Yeah.
Parents may want to know that, or they may not be looking for it, but you may be able to direct them in a way that they can get that information.
Right.
Those are generally the things that the parents normally come in and they want to know about. They want to know if you're around 24/7.
Right.
That's one of the things they want to know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's key, because let's be real. You look at you mentioned UCR. So for our viewers, UCR is a uniform crime report, and that's a compilation of statistics gathered from police departments all across the nation. And when you look at the UCR, you see that college campuses and schools, there are crimes. There are a number of heinous crimes. And that would be a concern of mine. I mean, let's look at some of the crimes. So some of the crime, we got property crime. You have car theft. You have robbery. You have burglaries. You have, from the outside surrounding. What would you say, Tone?
Assaults, robberies.
You have assaults from
sexual assault is a big one. Sexual assault is a big one.
Right, and from inside the dorm too. I mean, they have college students who assault one another, but also if it's in a city environment. While they're going to classes, they might run into someone who might be going through something, might have a mental health crisis situation, and get assaulted that way, or just from neighborhood gangs or whatever, So there is crime on college campus, and you said something that is key. Viewers, understand that the police officers that you see, know the difference. The security guards you see and the police officers you see are different. They have the same rights and responsibilities as municipal police officers, county police officers, and state police. They will make arrests. And as a matter of fact, under the law, your campus police powers go statewide. I know Rutgers, because you have campuses throughout the state, and the same thing at university.
That's correct.
Yeah, so you're not limited to just the campus, college campus. Anywhere you see a crime going down, you have the authority and responsibility to make the arrest to protect.
And even more so, if anyone wants to come on the campus carrying a firearm, any other agency, we actually control that.
Right.
So not anyone can just come on campus with a firearm. There needs to be some type of notification and clearance before you do that. So we even control that to where, if a person's coming in, let's say you have an off-duty law enforcement person coming in, they may secure their weapon at police headquarters.
Right.
There's things like that. So just to let you know. So, and one thing I would like to add is that because I'm a parent, I have a daughter that's a college student, so I had that concern too. So
Yes, sir.
one of the things that I would pitch out to the parents to look at, and if they're talking to the university, please find out how many jurisdictions does that university or college operate in, because you may have one central location. They may have other places where they're taking classes at.
Mm-hmm.
There may be satellite locations, but it's not like a full, like a
Right.
college. It may be a
Right.
building in this town. You may have that. So that would give them a larger scope to look at, because now you're looking at different municipalities. You may be looking at different counties, and in some cases you might even be looking at another country.
Right. That's true.
It might be looking at another country. So once you find out what the UCR stats is, maybe in those particular municipalities, you can also turn around and look at the university.
Right. Right. So that's Sergeant Yeverton. When I know because I started out as a campus police officer as well. I started out at with UMD&J at the time, and we had 3 campuses. We had Newark, New Brunswick, and Camden. And what I find now, working in the healthcare industry in emergency management, is that Rutgers is a part of our contingency plans for mass casualty incidents, active shooters, because we have Rutgers, we have New Brunswick, we have Middlesex County Police, Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office, and then you have Robert Wood Johnson Security. Right. So when we do an activate, say we do an exercise, all those agencies, we have to have communication. That's one of the challenges that we find, is that Rutgers radios won't work here, but Rutgers is now a part of us. And as you said, Lieutenant, they have offices in our buildings. And it's funny how when we come out with policies, when we go there, you're in our building, but you're a Rutgers employee or a Rutgers student, and it doesn't apply to you. And that's very important. And so for the parents, what Lieutenant was alluding to was that, yes, there's some courses that students take that are off the main campus and in buildings such as, a science building or a nursing building, depending on what it is. And still, you have to worry. The issue is, if in that case, if a Rutgers student, sergeant, is assaulted on a Robert Wood Johnson property, right? You're still involved in that aspect of the investigation, I would gather, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Because that's important. That's important because my child is entrusted with Rutgers University. So anywhere my child goes, I want to know that Rutgers has some answers for me. I don't want to deal with East Brunswick or New Brunswick. I don't know them. I put my child in your care,
Right?
And that's an important part. So, and we tell you
what's important is for that parent to know what is the policies, because in some cases what you're saying is correct, in other cases it's not.
Right.
So in some other places it may be, say, that municipality that may be taking care of that particular case. And what you may find is that the service that they may receive from a municipality might be different from what they may receive on the university, because we're a little more maybe in tune with dealing with actually the student body base. It's a different relationship. So sometimes we may get things that are occurring at an off-campus location or another place, and they call, let's say they contact the campus police, and then they have to inform them, you have to take this up with the municipality. Now that municipality, depending upon what the whatever the call is, they may have that cross communication going on. So at least at the university is able to know.
Right.
So if it's, say, a disciplinary situation, let's say if it's something, it could be dealing with mental health, or it could be disciplinary situation. So that may come back to the police department. It may not be anything chargeable by the university, but the university may get in contact with the conduct office and report a matter to them.
Right.
If need be. Or it'll go around into other areas, and then maybe that university, like, again, depending on their policy and how they operate, and can figure out how to, let's say the student is a victim, how can we better support them?
Right.
Even if it means bringing in, say, the prosecutor's office, etc. How do we better support that particular student?
Right. Right. So Sergeant Yelverton brought that up last week.
Mm-hmm.
That same type of scenario, and that's the flexibility you have in your department to deal with issues on campus involving students, so that which is different from a municipality, because if they do something in the municipality, like you said, Lieutenant, yeah, they're going to be dealt with differently. But
Yes.
yeah, so I think what I was trying to allude to was that, and this is a question, I'm not sure, maybe things changed, maybe it wasn't, but we're talking about policy between agencies. If a Rutgers student does something, in, like, say that he's a victim or she's a victim of a crime that happened in a municipality,
Mm-hmm.
does the municipality still notify Rutgers PD or Rutgers University Police and work with them, sort of like a co-investigation? Because I would think that there's some type of need for that.
Right, and there is. So what typically happens, a couple of things. It depends on the severity of the crime. Most of the time, if a student is they're away from home and they don't really know where they are, no matter where they are in the state, they're going to probably default to calling the campus police anyway. And then we'll have to kind of come and coordinate efforts with the jurisdiction to ensure that they get the proper reporting and everything that they need. When something happens off campus with a student, we always tell our students, wherever you are, you can always call us.
Right.
Wherever you are, you can always call the campus police and we'll work it out.
Right.
Because they may be in an area, they don't know where they are. They don't, they might not be, maybe they may be from another state, another country. So we tell them in the orientations, you can always call us and we'll work out, whatever we need to work out for you. But we definitely act, as a liaison on the student's behalf to make sure that they have a smooth transition if they're working with another agency.
Okay. Yeah, because we had a matter of fact, I think Sarge, you were still on the job in Newark. We had a incident where there was one winter night, there were a bunch of Rutgers students outside in the cold.
Okay.
On James Street.
Okay.
And we found out
Thursday night.
They ran outside because they were being the house, the apartment they were staying in on James Street was being robbed.
Okay.
So for their own safety, they stood outside, and it was like sometime a breakdown in communication about police response, because Newark thought that Rutgers was going to respond since it was a Rutgers house or property or Rutgers students, and Rutgers thought that Newark would respond and vice versa. And we came together and we started, that particular incident. There were some other things going on, and by us working together, we were able to alleviate the situation there. But as to what you said, when we wanted to move a certain way on one student, we didn't. And Rutgers said, this is why. And they dealt with it and they handled it in a way which they eradicated the problem. And the young student didn't wind up going to jail, because we were ready to put hands on him as the young people. About to put hands on them, and a lot of times for these young children, they're in situations for the first time. They don't realize it, and I'm an advocate for them. I feel that listen, everybody makes mistakes, and as you're coming up, I look at the times I made mistakes in the military stuff I did. Man, I should have, could have, would have. I mean, as simple as just being out of uniform one day. Happy to see my son's mother when she came down to visit me, had my Eagle Globe and anchor outwards and lipstick on my collar and this and that. That's a charge right there, That's a fine and a charge, and it could have wound up with an arrest. But thank God there was a gunny that said, "Come here, I'm gonna deal with you. I'm gonna tell you what you did wrong. Go and correct it, and then come back." So anybody can make a mistake.
Mind of a college student, they're in that protest age and rah, and and sometimes you gotta have just a little bit more patience and hear them out, and then try to, bring everything down to a safe stop, where and sometimes out in the municipality it might not quite go down like that.
And that's important, for the two of you. Thank you, because these young people, they're our future, and
Yep.
they're learning. Yeah, they're learning how to, when they protest. I noticed that when I was coming up, they did more protests on college campuses. It was always come together or a meeting or a protest or a vigil or something like that. And that's because they're finding themselves and they're expressing themselves. And by the time they leave the campus, they're well equipped to do a real protest and 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 get results. They're effective. And I just think about it now that you say that if you, as the officers assigned to that campus, had the heavy hand that municipalities have, we might have stopped that from happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been, the leaders such as the ones we have today, Tamika Mallory's, the AOCs, and all of those. They would not have be the people they are because they would not have learned or had that experience of protesting, of peaceful protesting, to get things done. So, that's another thing that parents need to be thankful for, that there is such a the way that the campus police departments work, that, as you said, it's not like a heavy hand, and it's one that will work with the child. So the child still has an opportunity, even if they make a mistake, not to face such serious consequences, except for the ones we went over last week with Sergeant Yelverton brought out, which were like, you don't do those. Yeah, go ahead.
Also, I have a question for both.
Yes, sir.
Take your time answering. What would you tell parents to tell their students, because of the times we're in now, if you hear gunshots or it sounds like to be gunshots? People hear them now, they peek their heads out the window or run outside to see what's going on. No matter where they are on campus, what would you tell them to do?
All right, I'm gonna let the LT take that since she outranked me and everything. So go ahead, and then I'll
follow up.
First thing is they may not be able to, if they can identify the direction of where it came and make a mental note of that, that's fine. Get yourself behind some cover and secure yourself and figure out exactly what's going on. Get the phone. If you're on the campus, get on your phone. And one of the things that I want to talk about, this is going to segue into that, is what type of technology is available from the universities. What apps or what things do they have, to utilize. Understand and register if there's a campus notification system. Make sure you register for that, because there may be instructions that you may be receiving via email, text, or however you set it up to tell you when to move, how to move. The other thing is, if you can, call 911. The 911, usually, if it's in the area of the university, will be directed right to the police dispatch. If it's not, and there's an overload, it may go out to one of the municipalities in which you're sitting in, or it may hit the county. They may circle it back over to the university. So it's important to even know that. But get that notification out, get yourself safe, and get your bearings. Report what you can, and make sure that phone is on silent. And that's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But train those gross motor skills and that mindset. Look, I need to turn this phone, the volume down on this phone, make sure that all the notifications and everything is silent. Because if that shot is loud and it's really close to you, who knows? It may be an active attacker or someone directly in that particular area. But the minute you can get that information out to the university, if it's there, usually there's a quick response time. Now there may be some other apps or technology the systems have, such as say you have a system called Alerts, which you may put it down as a GPS tracking locator. So the students, if they have a system like that, they can download the app. If they open that app, it'll show exactly where they are. And if they go moving from one place to another, some systems may take the campus cameras, integrate them so that, let's say the student is running someplace and it's showing them walk, the cameras may rotate and follow where that student is.
Wow.
Okay.
So these are things that are they're highly important to ask if you're a parent.
Right.
Ask departments if they have such technology. You know what I mean? Or maybe they can bring it up, because the police department may not know. And then we all know when it comes to technology, it might be a money issue.
Right.
You know what I mean? But find out what tools are already in place or what things that they might be implementing, and get that information, to the student and then also to the parent, because it could be a notification. Let's say you're coming to pick up a student from campus. Let's say there's an incident that happens. If the parent is on a notification system, the campus notification system, they can now get that, because now let's say George Street is blocked off, so you can't come this way because this is exactly what's going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just those notifications, because a lot of parents may start, panicking, obviously,
Yeah.
and start making a call, or you don't want them driving right into the, into
Right.
the
Yeah. Exactly.
so understanding what type of technology. There's something called School Guard.
Mm-hmm.
There's not. Some places may use it where it's like a panic button. It's for K through 12 generally, but maybe the university might have instituted. So let's say you have an active attacker and you have a problem. They go on, you hit that, you hit the app, and it'll send out a notification. So the notification may go out and hit every off-duty cop that has that app also.
Okay.
Hit people in the surrounding area about you have an incident maybe going on here. You know what I mean? Now, on the police department side, of course, that's going to maybe cause an issue, because if we have an active attacker and you got everybody rushing there,
Right.
a lot of time it throws everything off, because you can't stage people, and people are, they're trying to go right into the action, but you got bodies coming possible. You know what I mean? And people are notified. So I have it on my phone, even if it's a shooting in Missouri or something going on, it hits my phone. I usually get it before the media puts it out.
Right. Okay. Good.
So understanding, systems like that, is very important. And sometimes you may have to actually ask the university police, because you don't know how knowledgeable the person is that you might be speaking to. Because not everybody knows about technology like that.
Right.
These are things that may be integrated within the police dispatch system. So between the cameras and having some type of tracking, to where even if you're walking from a parking lot, can we track? So maybe you don't have anybody available to escort that student from the parking lot that worked late, that's trying to go back to the residence halls. Do you have something that can track them walking? So when they get there, they hit the button, I've arrived. Now, if you don't hear anything back from them, maybe you get that alert in dispatch now saying, listen, we need to go over and check this out. Who's over in that sector, over in that zone? Let me send someone over there to see if they can find this particular person. Because if it's registered, you may have their face, depending upon the software, their face, phone number, contact information, things like that might be attacked. They have to input themselves.
Wow. So it's we have a video I want to show you from University of North Carolina. It was actually an active shooter, and it was some aspects of what you said in this video. All right. So let's have the host. If you can run that video right now for the viewers to see.
A college campus was the scene of yet another deadly mass shooting today. A gunman opened fire at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. At least 2 people are dead. The suspect is in custody. Don Daler has the latest.
The shots rang out around 5:50 p.m. Video shot by UNC Charlotte student Jordan Pierce shows people running from the campus library and police running towards the sound of the gunshots. UNCC's emergency office quickly issued this alert. Shots reported near Kennedy. Run, hide, fight. Secure yourself immediately. 2 people were found dead at the scene. Police radios captured the drama.
We have multiple victims in here running multiple ambulances. The shooter is detained right here.
Emergency calls also went out for medical help.
We need CPR masks in here. If we don't have medic on scene, we need CPR masks in here now.
The last 9 alert we got was campus lockdown continues. Remain in the safe location.
The University of North Carolina, Charlotte is a sprawling campus.
All right. So right there, we saw one notification went out by their Office of Emergency Management, which very similar to what you were saying. So that's good information for the parents, Lieutenant, that you brought up, because I work with the hospital and we have university there, but I did not know that they had that type of technology available, which is very good.
Now, what may happen, let's say to register on the system, you have to be a student. Now, it may have where you can put email, text message, cell phone, home phone.
Okay.
Now, the student can register how they want. So if they want to have their parent included,
Right.
all they need to do is put the information on there.
Right.
So notification. And depending upon on how the setup is, if it's different, let's say you have a university where you have different colleges, it may let you differentiate on what messages you get. So let's say if you're at a college in Western New Jersey, and there's another college. Let's just take Rutgers for example. If you have Rutgers Newark and you got Rutgers New Brunswick, maybe you don't want messages from New Brunswick because you're not taking classes from there.
Right.
So you maybe differentiate the groups, notification groups that you're actually affiliated with.
Okay. Now let me ask you this: does that system, let's say as we sign up as a student, we sign up for telephone call, text message, email, or home phone. Does it do it all at one time, or is it sequential? Does it, if it doesn't get the answer from one, it'll go to the next?
It'll do all.
All.
If it's configured that way, it'll do all. So even if it calls, if it's calling a phone number, it takes the verbal, what a message that's typed in,
Right,
and it'll articulate it. It'll have maybe open a message. This is coming from this particular notification system,
right.
and this is in reference to this, and this has occurred
Yeah.
here. We've had a shooting here. You know what I mean? Because the thing about it is with the like with the Clery Act and things that you may have something that happens outside the university, but not on the university grounds. So let's say you have a shooter, or somebody that robbed someone 8 blocks from the university, and it spills onto the university grounds. Your telecommunicators, if as this comes in, they need to be on the ball. Say if this goes over the radio, they got knowledge of it. They need to patch it, up to where notifications can be made, maybe to the stakeholders that are around, just in case whatever happens before something blows up.
Right.
To limit the liability. So if it's something, let's say it could be, you had a possible bomb or something like that, potential device like that, then you want to know about that again in the area, because what? Your child might be getting off the bus right over there. Maybe your child is at Quick Check.
Yeah.
Getting a sandwich. What exactly is going on? So at least even if they're at Quick Check and something happens, maybe they can, be notified of what's going on. So it's important to understand the technology of the university that you're attending and what exactly is going on with it. And if there's any updates, you want to know about it. So check that police website and find out if things are updated on it.
Oh,
that's
good.
Like Lafayette Hamlet stated, retired Sergeant Lafayette Hamlet stated, all 4 years his daughter went to Rowan. His wife monitored their system, so it's available, to the parents.
Yeah.
I know Lafayette Hammond monitored that system. I know how he was. Listen, he wasn't playing. You don't mess with his daughters. They went to school with my daughters up at West Orange. Yeah. So we always watched out for each other. So we have a system that's very similar to that called Send Word Now, which if I get an alert, I get an email, a text message, or a phone call, and it'll have a recorded message, whatever the dispatcher put in there. That's very good. So parents, make sure when you're checking your children in that's a big bit of information you need to make sure that you are up on, that you enroll in that, you get attached to that, because it's not about just the police protecting. I mean, listen, you got thousands of kids in the police departments of varies in sizes, but the situational awareness we talked about earlier, that's situational awareness right there. What we just talked about was
also
your child knows what's going
on. Something happens on the campus. Will these systems alert the parents of a staging area to come to? Because everybody wants to rush, make sure their child is okay.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're going to have that human factor that's going to happen.
Of course,
right.
If you're a parent, I know if it's my daughter, I'm going to want to go
rush right there.
I'm probably going to want to go right in. You know what I mean? So you're going to have people that may listen or may not listen to it. But the thing is, look, if you can prevent 60% of the people from doing certain things, then that makes the job, that much easier. You know what I mean? The other things too is like with the fire alarms. You get a fire alarm going on, maybe something happened. It may not be a fire, but a lot of times you'll find that the students and staff are looking at it. They say it's a fire drill.
Yeah.
You don't, so the mentality is, oh, it's not real. It's a fire drill.
Not
So
really some
you'll
drill.
hear that all the time. So
Right.
it's important that the public safety department, as well as the stakeholders of the university, say, listen, treat that like it's real. You can, you can say there's a potential bomb at a place, and you'll see that people are not necessarily going to scatter. They'll stand there on the phone. Look, I got to go back in
Wait
and get
around like it's a drill.
Yeah.
Like
That's
I got
true.
to go back in and get my jacket. Listen,
Yeah.
there's a potential bomb in this building.
Yeah.
Listen, I got to get my homework out of there because
My phone,
paper drill.
I had to do it again.
my iPad,
I left
my
my
charger.
iPad in there. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, those are things, and that's why it might be imperative if they're keeping that cell phone on them in case these notifications and things just happen, because you get weather alerts also
Yeah.
that may appear on them also.
So, Lieutenant, let me ask you this. Let's talk about some things that some crimes, some things that potentially. One of the things when I was looking at the type of crimes that happen on campuses, with the drugs, drinking, we know drinking, drugs, that goes on, but sexual assault was one of the ones that was kind of high on the list. And what bothers me is that outside of college campuses, there's instances where there's a lot of date rape going on, and to my surprise, there's not a task force. There's not anything out there for the women, to deal with that, or because that's a special type of case. When I worked in child abuse and special victims, it was the children were a little different, but when it comes to teenagers and young women and women, it's harder. It's their word against the perpetrator's word, and a lot of times they don't want to come forward because they're victimized twice, and I understand that. And the problem I have is that the suspect, if he knows that, he's going to continue to victimize young women. So what was the situation with or what would you recommend with parents who have young daughters like me and Lafayette? I mean, we were on them. Our daughters were like lethal killers and whatnot, so we didn't have to really worry about. We felt sorry for the men, but for daughters who are not like that, who can become susceptible to date rape drugs and stuff like that. What
Nowadays, men and women.
Yeah, that's true. Men too.
I mean, yeah, don't.
Right,
Hey.
right. It could be. So what I want to do is ask you: do you want an answer based on the preventive side, or do you want an answer based on this already occurred and now we're here?
Well, actually, let's talk about both. Let's talk about both. I think we might be, some of our viewers might be in both positions. We might even have some viewers who now we're here. You know what I'm saying? As you just said. So based on your experience.
Okay. The first thing I'm going to hit would be social media, because that's a big thing. So I'm not sure what is that? Would you swipe? I forget. I don't know about it, but there's an app where you swipe if you like somebody out Tinder or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Anything like that where you're contacting people and strangers. And I know we can give that parental advice. Listen, don't have no stranger coming to the university. You're meeting up. Okay, we're going to go outside and meet. Things like that could end up into something, unwanted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Male or female.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it could happen. So that's one of the things I would say is in protecting your social media. You know what I mean? So, don't send out any nude videos or things like that. Pictures, things like that you put out also. You know what I mean? Because it could virtually lead to other things as well, as far as exposure and, maybe people coming at the particular person or whatever that you might have there. So also on a preventative measure, residence halls. And it depends on the university. Be responsible for your guests. If someone comes, let's say you have a stranger that walks behind you and they say, listen, I know such and such on the third floor, they're not answering, could you let me in there? You don't sign that person in.
Okay. Right.
And treat your residence room like it's your bedroom.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
you bring somebody, even, you know, all rooms aren't set up the same. So if you have a living room area, treat that living room like it's a bedroom.
That's
You
right.
know, if you want to talk, maybe we go out to, if you got a Starbucks or something on campus, and there's somebody, maybe you don't, I'll meet you out at Starbucks. You do it during a decent hour, maybe when, you know, everybody's out, and get to, you know, who you're around. You know,
Right. Right.
if you're going to parties, let somebody know what you're doing. You know,
Exactly.
also know where you're going. You
Right.
know, if
That's
I'm a student, and just based on my experience, I'd rather, as far as safety, I would rather party at a university party on campus than
yes.
say go to a frat house off campus or someplace else. Unless, I mean, if it's like a nightclub and you go there and they got security and you're monitored, that's fine. But understand how you're getting to and from where you're going. If you're not at the age to drink, I know it's tough. Don't drink.
Right.
But if you're going to do it, make sure you got someone around you that you can trust, that's not just going to abandon you.
Yeah.
Because maybe they got a text message or call from someone else, and now you're left behind
Right.
someplace else to try to fend and now get a ride with a stranger or something else. So, I mean, a lot of these things may pop up uh,
Yeah.
constantly. So that whole thing of awareness and having critical thinking
Mm-hmm.
before you put yourself into a situation.
Right.
Because often I think a lot of the youth are not looking at the bigger picture. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and the parents may be looked at as being corny. It's like, look, you know, you trying to put a leash on me, you trying to strangle me. And it might be some truth to that to some degree or another, you know what I mean? But learning how to be aware and learn from other people's mistakes.
Mistake. Yep.
When you come in, pay attention. You
Pay
know,
attention.
go to campus police, ask them, say, what are the things that people usually get in trouble for? You
Mm-hmm.
know, what are the things that you feel are silly that people usually get in trouble for? Because
Right.
I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to end up in that situation. Another thing, you may have something where you have your roommates bringing in strangers.
Yep.
They walk out the room, leave a stranger in the room. Now the stranger's in your bed, you know, well, in your child's bed, in a
Mm-hmm.
room where they're trying to make a move on the person or something like that. And now
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah. And
You know, it's a very difficult situation. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I would say educating them about the laws.
Right.
Like, I looking in retrospect, I want to know what criminal sexual contact is. Like, be
Mm-hmm.
able to define what these things are and how they're categorized.
Right.
Even to the other people, so that if you're going to date somebody, you're aware of, if you do certain things, you may be liable to be accused of this, even though your intentions was not as such.
Right.
They may not have known any better.
Right. Right. Yeah, but that's true. You know, especially a situation where you have roommates who have guests come over that don't go belong to the college campus, and a young lady woke up and one of the guests was in her bedroom, was in her bed actually, and I mean that, you know, that was the case. It was a case of rape, and you know, and that's a concern. If you have, you know, with my daughters, if she had a problem with roommates like that, she either came home or she, you know, she had a serious talk with the young lady. But the thing is that, you know, sometimes, you know, I know they're in college and they want to be free. They want to, you know, do the things they can't do at home. But the young lady knew that she couldn't entertain men at, you know, at her house. Pops wasn't having it, and especially the type of men that she was attracted to. So that wasn't going to work. And he wanted her to. He's paying all that money for her to concentrate on her studies. So she, you know, whatever she did there was always secret from what Pop and Mom knew.
Right.
And that creates a problem for other students, you know, roommates, because you don't get a, you know, you got to fight to get a good roommate, you know, or especially to get a room by yourself, because mostly it's 3 or 4 people there. And like you said, you know, you can have people come in there. And I came into the dorm one time, helping my daughter move in, and one of the kids signed me in. They're like, "Yeah, I'll swipe you," and they swiped me right in. I was like, "Wow." And I was thinking to myself, I mean,
Right.
you know,
And like, even with that, like, and if they're having guests and you're in your bedroom, lock the door.
lock the door.
Lock the door. Look, if you got another person in that direct bedroom that needs to get in there with you, they can knock on the door, or if it's a key, let
Yeah,
it go that way. If you're having an issue, See, because one of the problems that happens is that like because we're so tech savvy, we communicate all day long on a text message and stuff. A lot of the youth, and even I mean people that I see that are mid 30s and under, they have a problem communicating when there's a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't go to my roommate and say anything. Maybe now I got to shoot a text to my friends or shoot this or that, or maybe I had this conversation and now this person and all their friends are saying this person's corny because they won't allow me to have this particular person here or my guest over. So now this thing gets put on Snapchat and you get this other blowback now that we didn't have to deal with growing up.
Right, right. Peer
So
pressure.
now something simple as us having an argument, a disagreement or discussion now that may end up around 3 or 4 people, or maybe even 7 or 8 people now, is broadcasted, all over the world through the World Wide Web.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's the shame because but also so let's talk about the other aspect where we're here now. It happened.
Mhm.
What is the situation moving forward? I mean, a lot of times young ladies when they realize what they went through is so traumatic, they were in shock. They don't realize what they went through, but when they come to their senses, sometimes it's a day later, it's
Mhm.
48 hours, and this is evidence in these type of cases is crucial, that it doesn't become washed away or you take too long, especially with drugs. You don't want them out of your system. You want to make sure. But any experience that you've had on campus or know of any type of training in those particular areas that you would share with the viewers, in case they get to the unfortunate event that this is what happened.
First, I mean, we can say report it to the police department immediately,
Yeah.
but a lot of them may be like, they may exercise their power of choice and say, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Or maybe later on, they may wait and they talk to a friend and they get pushed and they finally say, okay, I want to go push forward with this, but they were not thinking about, well, what evidence did I need to gather? You know what I mean? What things did I need to put in place? And again, like Brother Cox said, it could be a male, female, or whatever that this is going on with in these
Mhm.
days. So what, how to preserve the evidence, etc. And even from the police department side, you may have people reporting something that happened, but you don't even know if the suspect actually did it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know, so you got to treat both of those sides. Um, you got to treat both of those sides with a certain type of empathy. But the
Mhm.
issue becomes because they might be running into each other. Is this person still allowed to go to class?
Right.
Was this person a resident student? Are they in the same residence hall?
Mhm.
If it's an off-campus person, then probably they're gone. Whatever it is, all bets is off. But because now you may have the other parent saying, "Listen, my child wouldn't do anything like that."
Yeah.
Or if it's a bunch of them, my children wouldn't do anything like that. And this person's accusing them of doing this, and and you get into that whole thing. So you have to learn, how to massage the situation, but still be just, and act swiftly with what's going on. But I mean, report the situation. If you find yourself in a situation like that, report
Yeah.
it. On the preventive side, if you're getting out, if you know you're coming in the parking lot and it's dark, or if something just don't feel right, don't get out the car. If you can
Get
move
out
your
the
car
car.
someplace else,
That's
go
right.
drive someplace else.
All right.
Make a phone call. Listen, I don't feel safe right now.
Right.
You know, Forget if the police department thinks, oh, it's a silly call. You make that call anyway. Make sure it's on the tape
That's right.
line
That's right.
and hold them accountable for them to get someone over there. Listen, I don't feel safe. I can't leave this location.
Mhm.
Maybe they might tell you, can you drive away from here? Is the person following you? At least you're starting something, because maybe now they can get on the cameras and see the
Yeah.
things that are going on. So understand about what times you're coming in. I got here, some of the places that they may end up at. Even with regards to, say, any type of sexual crimes, it could be the residence halls, it could be the parking lots. What transportation
Mhm.
areas you have? Is there a train station nearby? Is it buses? What are they using to commute? You
Right.
know, when the person comes in to deliver Uber Eats or other stuff,
Yeah.
where are they positioning that? Did the university set up pre-destination spots for them to deliver food that's well lit and may have a camera on it? Maybe not. Maybe that's a discussion. Um, to have. You have the school buildings themselves. You know what I mean? It could be you're in a lab, alone working with somebody. It could be overnight. You got to pass overnight in the building. You're doing, you're playing music and stuff, and somebody comes in. What do you do? But know that you got that campus police. Usually they're going to respond right away.
Right.
They're going to, because they're close. It's not like calling the municipality. They're right. Normally they're going to probably be dead on a call like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let them know the options and tools that they have, and educate them about the law. And if the parents don't know about the law, it's okay. That's what you have the police department for.
Right.
Contact them. Say, listen, can you provide some educational courses? Or is there anybody on campus that can talk about sexual assault awareness?
Right. Right.
Do we have any self-defense programs or self-preservation programs, that you can provide for the student, or for the student body?
Yes. Yes. And that's good, because you and Sergeant Yelverton actually did a program like that on the university, correct?
Yes. Yes. I had the pleasure of meeting Sergeant Yelverton probably around 96 or so, 95, 96. Now I've known him through different venues, but we both practiced martial arts, and I thought as a police officer it was a great connection point with the university, because it allowed them to see me not in a police uniform,
right,
but see me in regular clothes, and now we get to talk laterally.
Right. Right.
So now you almost get to develop that family-like environment, because that's what he did also, So having the police department involved with the criminal justice, if there's a criminal justice group or setting up something, having them involved with maybe self-defense programs. Like I believe Montclair may have some, Montclair State University may have some things like that, where the chief supports that. Have some programs set up like that, where you can take some of the defensive tactics and things maybe, and present it to them and educate them so that they can tell other people. Because we're in this day and age and technology where you say point them to a website on this is educating them about sexual assault. They can send that thing right out.
Right. That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean? They'll be able to send that link right out and get people to maybe reading it, even if it's a meme or little things that people can look at, something that's going to impress on their subconscious mind. So if they need to pull information up, they got something.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important too. And with the student groups, I know when I started, I started my first program, martial arts program, was at Rutgers at the Dome.
Down in North?
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually attended Rutgers University. So
okay. Enshin Karate started there because it started with a students organization.
Yes.
That brought Enshin Karate to there, and all students. That's all I had was students. They were at Rutgers students. They were joining, and they were learning self-defense, learning a martial art. But it was more than a club. It was us. It was Sato. It was Shotokan. And that's important. So to the viewers, you should always try to take some type of self-defense, and not just one course, because you learn one thing and then you don't practice it. You like, when something happens, you're like, wait a minute, it's not working. It's not working. He's choking me. But how much I know I did it in class, but you got to continually practice it, and also talk about it. Have discussion like we're talking right now, like different cases, what happened, so that children, the young students, are aware. And even like you said, parents, because some parents, some children are not, they're totally oblivious to what they're walking into. I feel they walk with their phones. I'm like, you walk with your phone in the neighborhood. I said, you got to keep your eyes up. You got to keep yourself.
Earphones on.
Yeah.
Earphones on.
They'll walk right into a police car. They'll walk right, and it's like in the middle of the road, crossing diagonally. I see it not just, it's not just at university. It's just all over the place, man.
Yeah.
I would cross the street and I could hear my father's voice saying, "Listen, don't get hit by no car." And I'm sitting there, even to this day, you start looking, you like, wait, you hear that voice of reason, man. But now it's drowned out with music.
Yeah. Yep.
And now people are walking too, because they what happens is the mind becomes occupied. And if your mind is occupied, then you're not aware.
Right. And that's so sad, because that's what perpetrators look for you to be distracted.
Yes.
And opportunity for them to take advantage of you. And even today, I saw a young mother with a young child Gentleman was walking his pit bull, and the dog was big, and the child is like shying away from the dog, but the mother is steady looking down at the phone, didn't even realize the dog was right next to her baby. And I'm like, I said, how can you not pay attention to that? You know? So I mean, listen, man, we're coming close to the hour, but I just want to thank you both for coming, Sergeant Yelverton for coming back, and for Lieutenant for joining us today. Because this is an important subject. You know, right now is a time where a lot of colleges are open back up, schools are opening back up, and I don't think that the parents had an opportunity to see anything like this, to hear these type of discussions. You know, most of the time their interaction, they don't want to talk to the police, they want to walk away from the police. But I hope that this conversation would invite them to engage the police on campus, so that, you know, you can, because the information you brought forth tonight, as far as the mobile, the phone and the tracking and the notifications, that's key. That's big. You know, and I never thought of that. You know, my daughters, they do some stuff on there, you know, tracking and stuff like that. But I get the alerts from Rutgers because of where I work at. And, you know, it's important. Anytime there's a shooting and, you know, anything else, I would know. But I think that's very good information that came out tonight. Again, thank the two of you for coming on and helping us on Protect and Serve, because that's what we do. You know, we got into this to protect and serve. I still believe in that philosophy. I know it sounds corny to some folks, and I know some folks don't believe that that's what there are police officers who do that. But it's not a career for us. You know, I mean, it's a lifestyle for us. You know,
That's
it's
correct.
a lifestyle. And you know, we're always, I'm still helping people. My daughter's like, Daddy, right? Would you stop? You know, I'm still helping people just do things. Little old ladies, you know. Yeah, it's what we do.
It's hard to shake it. I thank you for this opportunity to actually, you know, come on to the show and to be with, you know, such wonderful people that, you know, that we have here.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
All the experience, and you know, I'm here. You know, I'm here to be of service, brother. That's, you know.
Well, thank you.
What it is.
To that point,
if there's any programming or anything like that, we could always have a conversation and everything too. Because at the end of the day, man, we're looking to increase the quality of our life and community to the best that we can. You know what I mean? And some of these things, hopefully, it'll spark some conversations.
That's right.
Stakeholders.
To that point, if there are parents out there, that or members of the audience who may have a question, they can always contact me at my first and last name at gmail.com. It's too easy, you know. So always available, ready to answer some questions.
Great. Awesome, man. Listen, we thank you both, Lieutenant Thomas Hargrove, Sergeant Darrell Yelverton, and Effie Treadwell, Detective Anthony Cox from Protect and Serve. To our viewers, thank you for tuning in. Listen, be safe out there. Be safe, and always remember that the police are here to help you in situations that you might find yourself in. Don't be afraid to engage them. We're in this together. There's no such thing as one person having all the answers. So we thank you for tuning in. We welcome your comments. We welcome your suggestions. And we look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at 6 o'clock here on Protect and Serve. Have a great night. Have a wonderful night, gentlemen and ladies. Take care.
Okay, and vote.
Vote. Take care. Make a difference. Vote. Vote is coming up. Thank you.